As Told by Ginger is an animated series that ran for 3 seasons between the years 2000 and 2006. The show was created by the famous Klasky-Csupo duo, who were also behind Nickelodeon's Rugrats, The Wild Thornberrys, and many others. As Told by Ginger was a comedy drama that centered around the life of Ginger Foutley. Ginger had this all-American girl-next-door quality to her. She grew up with her close-knit group of friends and had an annoying little brother.
Then no, get out.
Ginger came from a modest home that was run by a strong-willed single mother. Therefore, Ginger was relatable to your average young American in many ways. But As Told by Ginger was by no means your average Nickelodeon series. Fans like myself remember As Told by Ginger as being distinctly different from other shows at the time. The show wasn't as popular as others on the network like Rugrats or Hey Arnold, yet As Told by Ginger had this special charm to it that made it stand out.
Go Basie, go Basie, go Jill girl.
In this video, I'm going to talk about 4 reasons why As Told by Ginger hit us differently. Welcome to Dial Up Digest. If you want to watch videos all about TV shows from the 90s and 2000s, subscribe for new videos every Thursday. When watching animated cartoons, you don't expect to see conversations surrounding serious topics. But As Told by Ginger was different. For example, the show discussed parental neglect with Ginger's friend Macy. The episode And She Was Gone dealt with depression and suicide. And the episode Stuff Will Kill Ya was about Ginger battling a coffee and caffeine drug addiction. But what was so refreshing about As Told by Ginger wasn't that it merely discussed these topics. It was the way in which these stories were written. The show didn't sugarcoat these heavier topics for its young audience. Instead, it offered scenarios along with realistic outcomes. This allowed the show to depict characters expressing a wide range of uncomfortable emotions: sadness, fear, pain, confusion. Watching characters our age go through similar experiences helped to validate our own. It taught us how we weren't alone in our struggles and how eventually we would get through it too. Something unique about As Told by Ginger is that the show progressed with time. The characters actually grew older. And as they grew, their clothes changed as well. Usually cartoon characters are seen wearing the exact same clothes in every episode. This was done intentionally for primarily 2 reasons. Number 1, it made it easier for the animation. And number 2, seeing the characters in the same outfit helped with the branding of the show since the characters would become instantly recognizable. The growth seen in the characters of As Told by Ginger made it seem similar to a live-action teen sitcom. The only difference, of course, was that As Told by Ginger had animated characters instead of real-life actors. Watching the characters grow up as we were kept the show relevant to our own lives. In the beginning, Ginger and her friends tackled typical preteen issues like makeup, reputations, and crushes.
So, what's it like being French? I'm a big fan of your toast.
They later began to experience more complex problems related to their identities, friends, families, and romantic interests. Because the show progressed with time, this meant the interpersonal relationships between the characters also evolved. For example, throughout the series, Ginger optimistically tried to develop a closer relationship with her estranged father. In contrast, Carl resented their father for leaving them.
Carl!
Dad?
Get in.
I would, but see, my mom always warned me about getting in the car with a total stranger.
Ouch.
The siblings had different opinions on what defines a father, which led to tense moments between the two. This is particularly apparent when their mother started dating Dr. Dave. Ginger's relationships with her friends also changed over time. Ginger and her longtime friend Darren had a complicated relationship. When the two started dating, it left her other best friends, Macy and Dodie, in an awkward position. As Ginger navigated these relationships, she reflects on what she wanted and what was important to her. In the process, she learned tough lessons about friendship, love, trust, and honesty. Another reason why As Told by Ginger hit us differently was the mood. The mood of the show is set right away by its theme song. The catchy and mellow tune sings about how the proverbial grass is not always greener on the other side. The song reflects Ginger and that she was just your average girl. She wasn't cool nor rich. At a first glance, some of her popular peers seemed to have a picture-perfect life that was much better than hers.
Who is it, Ginge? Do I need to rinse off and come down there?
I got it, Mom!
But as Ginger develops a friendship with the most popular girl in her school, Courtney, it was clear that her life wasn't better than Ginger's, just different. Being in between these two worlds meant Ginger wasn't enchanted by the allure of popularity. Neither was she despairing of her circumstances. She was just herself, and that was okay. The show thus has this calm, down-to-earth vibe to it. As Told by Ginger centered around the world of Ginger Foutley, a girl who grew up from being a 6th grader to a high school teenager. Most animated series at the time starred a male lead. Back in the early 2000s on Nickelodeon, the only other shows that featured a female main character was The Wild Thornberrys and My Life as a Teenage Robot. This coming-of-age story made a girl the center of attention at a time when the experiences of girls were usually limited to side plots.
Sure, I took a stand. Only, it was the wrong stand. We deserve to be punished for the TPing and the egging, but especially for not standing up to you from the very beginning.
Two of Ginger's best friends were Dodie and Macy. Because Ginger was the main character, we got to see more time and effort put into developing these friendships. The trio's friendships were far from perfect, of course. They had their ups and downs. The trio was a good representation of the positive friendships between real-life preteen and teen girls. Together, the three girls formed a strong bond never before seen in animated cartoons, aside from the Powerpuff Girls. Ginger was a complex character who learned and grew over time. She wasn't a stereotypical mean girl, book nerd, or boy-obsessed teen. Instead, we watched her form her own identities, develop a multifaceted personality, her own sense of fashion, interests, goals, likes, and dislikes. We watched how she navigated the trials and tribulations of growing up in her own way, how she handled her school life and her family problems, how she was a good friend and tried to balance her different relationships. We watched her achievements and her failures. Ginger was a well-rounded representation of a real-life average American teenager. She was confident but also insecure. She was intelligent but didn't have all the answers. She was brave, ambitious, honest, and an overall strong role model for young girls. What did you think of As Told by Ginger? Let me know in the comments down below. If you liked this video, I'd appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok at dialupdigest. Until next time, my friends, dialing out.